Okay, hello you all. Today we want to talk about the most important art, the art of seeing the good in everything. And it's not only the most important art, it's the hardest art because we have this tendency to look for the pessimistic, the unoptimistic point of view in everything. Everything that happens to us, we are trying to look for, we cannot see the good thing in it, usually. Sometimes we can see, sometimes we can thanks what is happening to us, but usually we are looking for what is absence, what we are lack of. We are seeing the dark side of it. We are thinking about, what could happen and why we lost that and why we are victims. And it's very hard to have glasses, to wear glasses that through them we see only the good things in life. How can we do that? How can we change, transform curses into blessings? How can we see everything in life to see the good side, the good perspective in everything that we are going through? In order to answer this question, I want to take you to get into a story, a beautiful story that happens to Rashbi. Rashbi is one of the most prominent sages in Jewish thought, and he is the one that wrote, according to the Jewish tradition, the Zohar, the most famous and important Kabbalistic book from the second area. And Rashbi is the student of Rabbi Akiva. And there is a beautiful story that happened to him and to his son. And through this story, we can understand how we can change, transform curses into blessing, and how we can see the good side, to see the good, to look for the good. It's really an art. It's something that we should be active in order to reach it. How can we see the good in everything? Let's penetrate into the story. The story is, you can find it in Gemara Moed Katan, in Tractate Moed Katan, and it starts with a story about two very important sages, Rabbi Yonatan ben Asmai and Rabbi Yehuda ben Grim. Both of them were the students of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who himself was the student of Rabbi Akiva. And they are learning with him, and when they finish to learn with him, they leave him, they take a leave, and they say goodbye, and then in the morning they are coming back and say again goodbye. He's asking, why do you come again to say goodbye? You say to me goodbye yesterday. But they say, no, now we are leaving the city, and before we are leaving the city, it is written that we have to go to our teacher and to say again to goodbye, and to get from him a blessing. Okay, they continue to go. And while they are going, he calls his son, Rabbi Elazar, and he asks his son, go to them, go to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yonatan, and ask for a blessing. And there are people of, they have, in Hebrew it's called Anashim Shel Tzura. They look in a very unique way, but of course it does not mean to an external way they look. It means that they look from the inside. What does it mean to be a person that he has a shape? He's looking in a certain way that you can respect him. What does it mean? It means that his internal point of view, that is soul, that is spirituality governs his body, his mundane life, and he can rule his desires, his cravings. He can rule himself. He's not being ruled by his emotions, but he rules his emotions. And those kind of characters, those kind of students, it's very hard to reach. It's very hard to know. And when you see a person like that, a person that have a structure, that has a shape, that looks in a certain way that you can appreciate, it's not an external look. It's not like they are not beautiful. That's not the idea. They are beautiful from inside. Why? Because they control themselves. They have a spiritual power that control their mundane life. And whenever you see someone that is concentrated, that is doing something that is not being controlled by the external world, you see someone that magnified you a little bit. Why? In a way. Why? Because he's concentrating something. He's revealing higher level, higher light in his everyday life. It's not like, I'm an external person. So he sent his son, go to them and ask for a blessing. His son, Rabbi Elazar, very important and very clever, and Talmid Chacham, a very wise student, is going to them and he's asked for a blessing. They see him, and they ask him, hello, what do you want? And he said, I am the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and he sent me to ask for a blessing. So they say, okay, we'll give you a blessing, and now they bless him. With what they bless him, listen to the way they bless him. They say to him like that, they say to him, you should sow and not reap. You should take out and not bring in. You should bring in and not take out, and your house should be destroyed, and you will have no place to live. You will lodge outside in temporary places, in hotels, things like that. Your table should be confused, and you should not see a new year. Wow, this is a blessing. What kind of a blessing? It's all curses. What does it mean? Bring in and not bring out and not bring in. What does it mean? Sow and not reap. If you sow and not reap, that means you have nothing to eat. You have no food. The whole idea of sowing is to reap, is to have the ability to prepare bread. And what does it mean? You should not have, and you should not see. You won't be able to see the new year. It's not a blessing, it's a cursing. So Rabbi Elazar is getting back to his father, to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We are talking about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai because tomorrow it's going to be Lag BaOmer, the day that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai passed away. And in this day, it's a very special day that you can reveal more intrinsic, more things from the interior point of view, not from external point of view, but from a point of view of the real, what is happening from the inside, and seeing life, seeing our everyday struggling from another perspective, not the perspective that we are suffering, but a perspective, an inside perspective. That's the goal of the Kabbalistic point of view. That's the goal of Chasidism. And when you can see that, when you can have this kind of point of view in your life, that means you're gonna succeed. And that's why what Rabbi Shimon wants to teach his son. He wants to teach his son to see things differently. So he's sending his son to those two sages, two of his students, very important students, and instead of blessing him, they curse him. So he's getting back to his father, and he's saying to his father, his father asked him, what did they told you? And he said, it's not only that they didn't give me blessings, but they also, I went out of the conversation very sad. They cursed me. And the father asked him, okay, tell me what they told you. And Rabbi Elazar tells his father and said, no, you misunderstood them. Really? Those are blessings. Those are not curses. And the first question that we want to raise is, why? Why those two very important Jewish sages that have a shape, that they look like they have, they are spiritual persons, they are learning, they are so important students, why they talk like that? If we are talking about blessings, why didn't they bless him? Didn't they bless Rabbi Elazar in a very simple way? You will have children and you will succeed and whatever, and you will have money and whatever, doesn't matter, and you'll succeed to learn and you'll be a person of a shape. Why? Why do they have to conceal their uterus to speak like that it sounds like curses, and he has to contemplate in the thing that they are saying in order to understand them as blessing. It's a very important question, and the answer is like that. I think the answer is like that. Somebody texted me. She texted me and she said to me, okay, I really need your help. I'm suffering. I had a narcissist mother and a father that always screaming in our house, and I went out and I'm dealing with so many issues, so many traumas, and now the life is so expensive and it's so hard for me to buy an apartment, and we just bought an apartment, me and my husband, and it's very hard to pay the bills and our children and that, and she continued with everything, and I'm suffering from health. And she wrote about, I think, 500 words on WhatsApp. not even one word. She couldn't see what's good in her life. She couldn't. Everything was bad, bad, bad. And I told her, your main mission, it's not how to solve all the things that you have in life. Your main mission is to transform whatever you see as curses to blessings, to see that you have an house, to take responsibility over that your parents didn't help you, and you think, even if you had the best parents, still you were facing struggling and issues. Why? Because this is the way we were born. We have, each one of us, even if you were born in the best place, is struggling. And I think I told you that a week ago, two young persons called me. One of them was very rich. He just built a house, $10 million shekels house near the sea. And everything, and his business goes well. He has 3 children and a wife and everything great, and still everything is black. He's fighting with his wife every day, every morning about nonsense, everything. And the one that built he has issues with the house that he just built, and he cannot see the good things in nothing. And as opposed to him, I spoke a few minutes before that with the young guy, the 27 years, that went through very hard life. Everything went wrong. His father was in jail, and he himself was struggling through so many things, and still he's trying. He's working very hard in order to see the good in everything. He knows he's struggling. This guy is struggling, the rich one is struggling, and the poor one, the one that is not only poor and is living in the street, but he also had very hard life. He's struggling, but he's taking responsibility. He's trying to transform everything that looks like curses and everything that he has been through to blessings. So I told her, there is an active role that you have to take on yourself to transform whatever looks like curses into blessings. And that's what Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai wanted his son, Rabbi Elazar, to learn. He wanted to learn from those 2 sages, two students of him, that they should tell him, they should convince him how to change his point of view, how to see life differently, how to change whatever he is going through, from seeing it as a curse to seeing it as a blessing. And it's not an easy task. It's the most important task that we have in our life. But when you can do that, you live life differently. And that's what he really wanted. That's the message that he really wanted to accept from those 2 students of him, that he wanted Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yonatan will teach his son how to contemplate, how to learn, how to do this transformation that we are talking about. So the main question that we are still dealing with is how? How can we do that? We understand that they concealed the blessing in the curses, but how can you extract the blessings in everything that you are going through? How can you do that? It's not an easy task. How should we do that? And the answers, we can find the answer when we'll penetrate into the 6 curses, which are really 6 blessings that the Rabbi Yonatan and Rabbi Yehuda blessed Rabbi Elazar. So let's get into them. The first blessing, the first thing that were called like a curse was, he told him, you should sow and not reap. This was the first, something that sounds like a curse. What does it mean really? So Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai tries to explain to him. He's explaining what? It means that you will bring birth to sons, you will have children, and they will not die. What does it mean? That's what Rabbi Shimon is saying. And the explanation of Rabbi Shimon, you should look into it a little bit more, because Rabbi Shimon was the artist, was the most, everything that he said as an inner explanation, inner dimension, very deep one. And in order to understand what he's saying, you have to dive deep into Jewish mysticism in a way to understand what does it mean. What does it mean that you will sow and not reap? It means that you will have children and they will not die. What does it mean? Well, you bless someone that you will have children that you won't die. It's like the first thing that could cause us anxiety is thinking about things that could happen. So when you bless someone, you don't bless him with things, and you will start to let him think about what could happen, that my children will die. The explanation, the inner explanation, the Kabbalistic explanation is a different one. What is the inner Kabbalistic explanation? The explanation is like that. Our mind is giving birth to children. What are the children of the mind? When you are contemplating on something, you give birth to your emotions. That means that the mind gives birth to the emotions. The whole idea of Sfirat Omer, the whole idea of a man of a shape, a man, people that looks in a way that their spirituality govern their body, that means that they are in control on the way, on their emotions. And you are in control on your emotions when you give birth to your emotions. What does it mean? That you are in charge on your enthusiasm, on your passion to life. You are in charge on initiative that you are taking. One of the most important things is not to lose passion to things. What does it mean to be called, to lose passion? When you are called, you cannot do anything. You don't want to. You do not take the initiative. Another thing to do. Okay, what should I upload lessons in English? Who will listen to me? I'll say it by myself. You always look for why not to do things when you are warm, when you have passion, because emotions are the engine of the soul, the engine of our life. When you have emotions, that means you want to push yourself to do things, to succeed. So what is the blessing? The blessing is that you won't have an idea. You won't have a wish, and a good emotion, a passion to something, and then it will die. You will sow and not reap. You will have this passion, then you say to yourself, why do I need that? You will bury your own sons. Your own sons are your own emotions. Now you will stay cold. I won't want to do this thing. So the first blessing, in order to transform curses into blessing, to see the good in thing, is to keep alive our sons, our emotions, through contemplation, through learning. Whenever I contemplate on something, I give birth to emotions. If you want to buy something, a new Tesla, the more you'll think about the Tesla, the more you'll read reviews, watch reviews, the more emotions you will have to the car. And the more emotions you will have, the more expectations you will have until you get the car. And it will always be in your mind. So the first blessing, if you want to transform bad things, curses, into blessing, is you have to be in charge on your emotional, on your emotions. And you have to be in charge on your passion to things. Without passion, you will stay cold. And if you will stay cold, everything will be bad, bad, bad. When you are warm, you can overcome things. And you can see the blessing, the good in everything. Second advice that Rabbi Yonatan and Rabbi Yehuda are giving to Rabbi Elazar. What is the second one? That you will bring in and not bring out. What Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai is saying, bringing and not bring out, that you will have daughters and your sons won't die, so your daughters won't live away. Okay, it's again, without contemplating through the Kabbalistic and Hasidic point of view, you cannot understand what Rabbi Shimon is saying. Who gives a blessing like that? Even if you'll accept the interpretation of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who say you will bring out in and you won't bring out, and it means that your daughters will be married and their husband won't die. That means we have two tendencies in our life. One is to influence. We need to do two things. One is to influence, and the other one is to receive. Influencing is when you are influencing, you are in the image of God, because He is influencing. Each one of us needs to bring His value to the world. Without bringing value to the world, you are like, what do I do here? And usually the more you think, am I bringing the value to the world, the less you're doing. And the second blessing, if you want, whenever you do not feel that you are influencing, then you start seeing things as bad, as curses. When you think that you are influencing, that change the whole point of view, because I'm influencing, I'm worth something, I have a reason why I brought to the world, why I'm living over here. So the second blessing is that you will always influence, and your daughters are the one that accept, receive. Sons are the one that influence, that give birth, that you are the influencer, so you will always stay an influencer, but not a false influencer. False influencer, sorry, just a minute. False influencer is the one that does not really want to influence. He thinks about himself. How am I? He really wants to receive. He doesn't want really to influence. Really influencing is changing other people's lives by you transform them into influencers by themselves. You let them believe in yourself. What is a real leader? The Lubavitcher Rebbe was a real leader in the sense that he made you, the one that listened and learned from him, to be the leader of your environment. So influencing is pushing others to influence. So you have to bring in and not bring out. You should continue to be influencer, but a real one, not a false one. A real one that means not the one that is waiting to accept. I'm waiting for you to say to me, "Wow, you are great," and for you to give me assertion that all right, I can be. No, I don't need nobody assertion. I am influencer. So bring in and not bring out. Let's push a little bit forward. The third blessing, which could help us, advice, could help us to see the good in everything, is that you will bring out and not bring in. What is Rashbi saying about that? He's saying that when you will have daughters, they will get married, and their husbands won't die. Okay, again, it's so enigmatic. And the explanation is that you also should know how to receive, how to learn, how to be in a place that you are not all know. You do not know everything, without being able to learn, to listen, to say, I don't know, now I'm ready to receive from you. If you are not ready to receive from anyone. Who is wisdom guy? The one that is ready to learn from anyone. And if you are not ready to learn, it's like you do not bring in the clever things that you can learn from anyone. So the third advice is learn from anyone. The fourth one is that your house will destroy and you will live in the street. Not in the street, you will lodge in no place, in hotels. What does it mean really? So Rashbi is saying that this word it's not your right, it's not your word. It's only a way to the real world, to your real home. What is your home? The next world. After you pass away, you will reach the real world. What is the explanation, the inner explanation? That here we are lodging in hotel. This world, it's like an hotel. It's a temporary world, and we are gonna get in the next world to the real home. That there we should live. There the soul should live. It means something else, something very important. We are not waiting for the next word. The inner interpretation is, don't think only about the results. What should motivate you is not the results, but it is this moment. Whenever you think about, okay, I'm in my home, I'm in the place that I should be, you are a little bit losing the way that you should think. You should think about how in every moment, do I discover my inner attributes? Do I discover my inner qualities? Do I do here what I need to do? Or am I just thinking about getting goals? What is the problem with goals? First of all, if you reach the goals, you don't continue to do things. Okay, I thought I need to make this or that amount of money. I made this amount of money. enough. Or if I'm facing the opposite, the other extreme, if I'm facing difficulties, now I say to myself, okay, it is too hard, I'll change my goals. But if my real goal is to every day, not to be like feeling at home, but every day to discover my inner powers, my qualities, that's my characteristic, my whatever I have to bring, my value that I have to bring to the world, it's a different state of mind. Because every day there is something that I'm facing, every moment that needs for me something. Okay, the fifth advice, and this is a way to see goodness in everything. Why? Because if I think about the goal, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But if I think about every moment that they're concealed in it, something that I have to rectify, that I have to do, that I have to add to the world, then every moment I have something to bring to the world, then I'm influencing every moment. And every moment I'm lodging here in order to change this place and to make it a better place. Fifth perspective is that your table will be in a situation that everything will be confused. What does it mean? So Rashbi is saying everything will be confused. That means that you will have daughters and sons and there will be a lot of noise around the table. What does it mean? Who says things like that? That even if it is a curse or it's a blessing, who says like that? That your table there will be a lot of noise around the table. The inner perspective that Rashbi is suggesting is that don't be afraid of times that you feel a bit of noise. Usually the noise that we're hearing is from our emotions. We have a bit confusion. We do not know really which direction to go. And it means that there is this point of wisdom. Wisdom, in Hebrew, it's nekudat chokhmah. It's the point that where I let myself not knowing in order to be innovative, in order to be innovation, to bring something new to the world. So there is this space, there is this time that sometimes I'm suffering because I'm not sure which direction to go and I don't sure what is really my meaning. It's okay. Embrace those moments, embrace this time in your life. Don't be afraid of it. It's a blessing because through this darkness, through this hardship, through this confusion, something good is going to be born. What is going to be born? In order to understand that, we have to go to the next advice that Rabbi Yonatan and Rabbi Yehuda are giving to Rabbi Elazar. And the next one is, you won't see and you hear. And this is the worst one. What does it mean, I won't see and you hear? So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is explaining, your wife won't die and you won't need to get married with another wife. Wow, this is like, who thinks about that? And if you think about that, so it's enough to say, so your wife won't die. You don't have to say, so you won't need to get married with another wife. Husband and wife are wisdom and understanding. Chokhmah and Bina. It's like two parts of our mind, of our brain. One part is in charge on bringing to our life those points of innovation, of seeing things from new perspective, of renewal. This is a very important part of the mind that I always allow myself to renew myself, to see things from different angles. And there is this other part that takes those points in my life. It's like, okay, I understood something occurred in my mind. Wow, there is an idea there. Now I need to use the other part of my mind, the part of understanding, in order to a little bit to ask myself questions. How can I implement this idea in my life? What does it mean to me? What does it mean at all? Can I implement it? Is it, if you have like an idea how to start a new business? So now I'm starting to think about this idea seriously. This is the power of understanding, of bringing things down to earth, of implementing them and let them influence my life and my emotions. So the power of wisdom is like the husband. It's like the point that it brings something and then it goes. It's like it brings an idea. It's like seeing something. I'm not sure about it. Okay, it's like in the dark. I'm sitting in the dark and now I have an idea. The first idea that comes to me, it's a masculine, it's the husband power. The second one, the understanding, the contemplation, the bringing that down to earth, the implementation, it's the power of the woman, of the wife. So what Rashbi is saying to his son, really what they told you, that you will have the power to implement, to contemplate, to take those ideas that we started talking about in the fifth advice. You can take them down to earth and now use them in your mind and try to see to yourself, how can I take this darkness and this idea that arose in the dark side of this day and implement it and make out of it something good and see it in a different way. So you won't need to get married with another wife, so you'll save, you will guard the power of understanding that you have in your mind. And through this power, you will be able to take those new ideas that are a bit confusing, you're not sure about them, you don't know how to implement them, and implement them in your everyday life. So really, Rashbi wants his son to learn the art of how to transform curses into blessings. And what he is doing is sending him, I'm now concluding, he's sending him to Rabbi Yonatan Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yonatan Rabbi Yehuda teach Rabbi Elazar, if he will contemplate, if he will be active in this art. It's not an art it's not a natural thing to happen. In order to see life in a positive way, you have to work on it. You have to bring your own perspective. You have to change the natural way of changing, of seeing things. I think we said it in the past that whatever is connected to the body, natural, is a good thing. Because if you eat something and you don't know really what is written behind in the ingredients, don't touch it. But whatever is connected to your soul, to your life, to your spirituality, to your mind, natural, that means not good. Because everything that is connected to parenting, to health, to emotional health, to have a spiritual health, means that you have to overcome your natural tendencies and to bring to life an unnatural and an higher perspective, which is not natural, and to adapt that. And the whole idea of that is that you will work on yourself. You will change yourself. So, Rabbi Yonatan Rabbi Yehuda Ben Grimm are giving 6 steps, 6 point of views, how to change natural point of view that everything seems to me like curses, and from them to extract positive point of view. What are those 6 advices? Let's go through them very speedily. That you will sow and not reap, that you will bring to this earth, to bring to life thoughts, innovations, perspectives, emotions, and you will keep them. You will let them be. You won't bury them. You'll have children and you won't bury them. Second, you will bring in and not bring out, that you will influence. Third, that you will bring out and not bring in, that you will know how to receive. Without receiving, you won't grow. You won't be a person that knows how to influence later. Fourth, that your house will destroy. That means don't look only for results. Look every moment, how do I discover my inner powers? How do I bring everything that I have to the table? Not just looking for the goals targets are not the most important things. Changing yourself, discover your inner powers every moment. This is the main target of our everyday life. Fifth, that your table will be confused. We said that you will have the power of wisdom and you won't see a new ear. That means that you will be able to implement those ideas that you have when in times of darkness, and to implement them and to let them be realistic in the real world. If you want to read the text itself, you are more than welcome to go to Tractate Moed Katan, page 9, Daf Tet Amud Bet, page 9b. Okay, thank you very much. You're more than welcome to subscribe to our channel, Itbonenut. We are growing and we are trying to bring Jewish psychology and to see the ideas of Jewish psychology, of Chasidism and Kabbalistic ideas are so useful in our modern everyday life. So if you like this project, and we really hope to advance ourselves from all kinds of perspectives, from the English perspective and from the material, so you're more than welcome to subscribe. See you in the next episode, in the next podcast. Thank you. And Lag BaOmer Sameach.